Hey there. Welcome to our new session on microfinance and the Sustainable Development Goals. In our previous session, we explored how microfinance plays a pivotal role in fostering entrepreneurial development, offering essential startup finance, business support services, and helping entrepreneurs manage their micro enterprises effectively. As we transition, we will now dive into the powerful intersection of microfinance and the global SDGs, examining how these financial tools contribute to sustainable development, poverty reduction, and inclusive growth worldwide. Let's begin. Imagine a world where poverty no longer exists. Hunger is a thing of the past. Gender equality is a norm and the environment is flourishing. This is the vision behind the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs 17 global goals designed to create a better and more sustainable world of all by 2030. The SDGs were launched by the United Nations of 2015 as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. These goals represent a bold call to action to tackle the most pressing challenges faced by humanity, from inequality to climate change. Now, let's go back a little on origins and evolution of SDGs. The SDGs evolved from the Millennium Development Goals (MDGs) launched in 2000. While the MDGs brought significant progress like reducing extreme poverty from 36% in 1990 to 10% in 2015, they were criticized for being too narrow and focusing mainly on social sectors in developing nations. The global community recognized that a broader, more universal framework was needed. This led to the development of the SDGs. Does anyone know what made the SDGs different from the MDGs? Right, the SDGs are broader and more universal. They are designed to tackle all sorts of global challenges: climate change, inequality, sustainability consumption, and they apply to everyone, rich or poor. In 2012, the Rio Plus 20 conference led the groundwork, and by 2015, all 193 United Nations member states had adopted them. Now, let's talk about the structure of these goals. The SDGs are divided into 17 goals, but there are more. They also have 169 targets and over 230 indicators to measure progress. Sounds like a lot, right? Don't worry, we will break it down. Here's a quick run through of the 17 SDG goals. As I go through them, think about how each one could relate to your own life or community. Are you guys ready? Goal 1. No poverty. Pretty self-explanatory, right? The idea here is to end poverty in all its forms. The target is to reduce the proportion of people living in extreme poverty to less than 3% by 2030. Think about how microfinance helps with this by providing financial services. Even the poorest people can start businesses and improve their livelihoods. Goal 2, Zero Hunger. End hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. This goal focuses on access to nutritious food for all, particularly vulnerable populations. Goal 3, good health and well-being. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. This goal includes reducing maternity mortality, ending epidemics, and ensuring access to health care. The example target to be considered is to reduce the global maternal mortality ratio to less than 70 per 1 lakh live births. Goal 4, quality education. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. This goal focuses on ensuring every child has access to free primary and secondary education. The example target is ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable and quality primary and secondary education. Goal 5, gender equality. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. This goal seeks to eliminate discrimination, violence and harmful practices against women and girls. The example target is end of the forms of discrimination against women and girls everywhere. Goal 6, clean water and sanitization. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitization for all. This goal focuses on equitable access to clean drinking water and adequate sanitization. The example target is achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water by all by 2030. Goal 7, affordable and clean energy. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. This goal promotes renewable energy sources and improved energy efficiency. The target example is ensuring universal access to affordable, reliable and modern energy services. Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. Promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. This goal seeks to create jobs particularly in vulnerable sectors and improve working conditions. So, the example target is achieve higher levels of economic productivity through diversification and technological upgradation. Goal 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. This goal highlights the importance of building modern and sustainable infrastructure. The example target is develop quality, reliable and sustainable infrastructure, particularly in developing countries. Goal 10, reduced inequality. reduce inequality within and among countries. This goal targets income inequality, discrimination, and barriers to social, political, and even economic inclusion. The example target here is reduce income inequality to ensure that the bottom 40% of the population benefits from economic growth. Goal 11. Sustainable cities and communities. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This goal focuses on urban planning, affordable housing, and sustainable transport. The example target is ensure access to adequate, safe, and affordable housing for all of them. Goal 12. Responsible consumption and production. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. This goal targets resource efficiency and reducing waste generation. The example target for this is have per capita global food waste at the retail and consumer levels by 2030. Goal 13. Climate action. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. This goal urges global efforts to mitigate and adapt to climate change. The example target for this goal is strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity to climate-related hazards and natural disasters. Goal 14. Life below water. Conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. This goal focuses on reducing marine pollution and protecting marine ecosystems. The example target for this goal is prevent and significantly reduce marine pollution for all kinds by 2025. Goal 15. Life on land. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, manage forests, combat desertification, and halt biodiversity loss. This example target is ensure the conservation, restoration, and sustainable use of terrestrial and inland freshwater ecosystems. Goal 16. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable institutions. This goal addresses violence, corruption, and the rule of law. The target example for this goal is significantly reduce all forms of violence and related death rates everywhere. Goal 17. Partnerships for the goals. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. This goal emphasizes the importance of partnerships between governments, private sectors, and civil society. The example target for this goal is enhance global macroeconomic stability and policy coordination to achieve SDGs. Now, let's move on to significance of the SDGs. The SDGs are more than just goals. They represent a significant departure from previous global development frameworks. They bring several transformative qualities that shape Global efforts for sustainable development, universal and inclusive. One of the most defining features of the SDGs is their universal nature. Unlike the MDGs, which focused mainly on developing nations, the SDGs apply to all countries regardless of income or development levels. This reflects the understanding that global challenges such as climate change, inequality, and unsustainable consumption are not confined to one part of the world. In fact, high income countries are urged to lead by example, especially in areas like responsible consumption, clean energy, and climate action. The universal nature of the SDGs means that every nation, rich or poor, shares responsibility for achieving sustainable development. Whether it's tackling poverty in developing regions or promoting sustainable consumption in wealthier ones, the SDGs are a collective endeavor, integrated and holistic. The SDGs emphasize the interconnectedness of global challenges. Progress in one area often requires advances in others. For example, addressing hunger, which is goal 2, is not just about improving food production but also about enhancing education, which is goal 4, ensuring gender equality, which is goal 5, improving health, which is goal 3, and fostering sustainable agricultural practices, that is goal 15. The SDGs promote a holistic view of development which acknowledges that issues like poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation are deeply interconnected. Solving one problem often means addressing several others at the same time. Next, long-term and forward-looking. The SDGs are forward-looking with a target date of 2030, pushing countries to think beyond short-term gains and consider the long-term consequences of their policies. This is particularly relevant when addressing environmental issues where short-term economic growth can conflict with long-term sustainability. The SDGs encourage countries to adopt policies that balance immediate needs with long-term sustainability. For instance, rapid industrialization may boost economic growth in the short term, but if it's not managed sustainably, it can lead to long-term environmental damage which threatens future generations. Next, emphasis on partnerships. A key aspect of the SDGs is to recognition that achieving these ambitious goals requires collaboration between governments, the private sectors, and civil society. Goal 17, Partnerships for the Goals, highlights the importance of multi-stakeholders partnerships to mobilize resources, expertise, and technology. The SDGs stress that no single actor can solve global challenges alone. Governments, businesses, non-governmental organizations, and individuals must work together to drive innovation and scale solutions. Next, focus on leaving no one behind. Another critical aspect of the SDGs is their commitment to ensure that development benefits everyone, particularly the most vulnerable populations. This concept is encapsulated in the phrase, "Leave no one behind." The SDGs aim to address inequalities and ensure that the marginalized communities, whether due to gender, ethnicity, location, or income, are not left out of global progress. This commitment is very much essential for achieving true global equity and inclusivity. Currently, over 70% of the world's poorest people live in rural areas. The SDGs recognize the importance of reaching these vulnerable populations to ensure that they too benefit from sustainable development. Whether we are talking about poverty or environmental sustainability, we are all in this together. And the SDGs reflect that they require every country to set up, no matter whether they are. And the SDGs reflect that they require every country to step up, no matter where they are. Next, let's look upon the key challenges in achieving the SDGs. Okay, let's be a bit real. Achieving these goals is a monumental task, and we only have until 2030. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges in getting there? First, financing the SDGs. Achieving the SDGs will require investments of $5 to $7 trillion annually, while governments and international organizations contribute. Private sector investments are crucial. According to a 2021 report, current global investments fall short by $2.5 trillion per year. Next, political will and leadership. Strong leadership is very much essential. However, corruption, political instability, and conflicting national interests can stall progress. For example, 20% of the world's countries are experiencing conflict, directly impeding progress on goals like peace, that is goal 16, and education, which is goal 4. On to our third point, complexity and coordination. The interconnected nature of the goals requires cross-sectional coordination. For example, solving hunger, which is goal 2, involves agriculture, education, health, and economic policies. This complexity makes integrated strategies essential. Moving on to our next point, monitoring and accountability. Tracking progress towards the SDGs is difficult due to inconsistent data. In some countries, basic statistics like poverty rates are reliable. In some countries, basic statistics like poverty rates are unreliable. Improving data collection is key to ensuring transparency and accountability. Moving on to our next point, global crisis and the SDGs. The impacts of climate change also pose a critical threat. Rising global temperatures, extreme weather events, and ecosystem destruction make it harder to achieve goals 13, 14, and 15, which focus on climate action, ocean conservation and life on land. But despite these challenges, progress is being made, and that's where microfinance plays such an important role, especially when we think about poverty reduction, gender equality and decent work. So, where do we go from here? The SDGs offer us a roadmap for a better future, but reaching these goals will require all of us, governments, businesses, and even individuals, to work together. Every little action counts. Think about this. How can we, in our own lives, contribute to the SDGs? Whether it's supporting local businesses, reducing waste, or promoting education. There's something each of us can do. Let's keep these ideas in mind as we move forward in our exploration of microfinance and its role in sustainable development. Together, we can be part of the solution.